Hi, I'm John Munoz, and welcome to the Business Networking Channel hosted by the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. With me in studio today is Toby Rue.
Hey, John, how are you, audience out there?
I'm doing very well, very well. So we have some exciting news for the Hispano Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, we do.
And a very distinguished member of our community and of our board that's working up a project that we're very excited about.
It is. You know, it's perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Right.
Economic development in our community in the Southwest is really thriving. A lot of partnerships going on. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of this. We're going to bring up some creative ideas. We're going to talk about the leadership that's driving this, and the Hispano Chamber is right on that leadership track. But real before we go there, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Hispano Chamber.
What's going on?
For some of the events. As a quick reminder, March 16th, that's a Wednesday, March 16th, we're having our middle school recognition program at the Doniana Community College. And ladies and gentlemen in our audience out there, if you have not had a chance to stop by there, please do. It is a phenomenal event. We really help support all the middle schools in the Las Cruces and the surrounding. By the way, I didn't tell you this. Hatch and Gadsden and some of the other schools had looked to our program as a model, and we've been having discussions to see how they might be able to incorporate something like that.
That's exciting news, Toby. Hats off to you and the committee.
Well, you too. That's good. Thanks. And then March 17th, we have our Mix and Mingle. It's going to be at Aprendamos from 5:30 to 7:30. Another great partner helping kids and doing some fundraising for them. And then the Mix and Mingle is a good place to business network and talk about things that business likes to talk about.
Abel Covarrubias and his group do an outstanding job for our community. And that's going to be a fun event, too. It's going to be like green stuff or something, because it's around St. Patrick's Day.
That's correct.
So there's going to be green stuff and to eat and drink, I guess.
Four-leaf clovers, who knows?
Something like that. I don't know. Leprechauns. Hopefully they won't chase after me.
No doubt. And then later on in the month, we're going to finish up the month of a little tongue twister there. The month of March. On March 24th, we're going to have the March of Dimes, where we're always trying to do things for babies, and this is for premature babies. And this event is really something that I think is really good. It's the first time you'll see John Munoz catering to the community with his waiter outfit. It's the celebrity waiter, and we want to make sure you're part of that.
That's right. I'm excited. I'm going to get some training. I'll be ready to do whatever waiters do.
Serve it up. With 2 fingers, 3 fingers, go. You know, we were out to eating at Calabarin one day, and they had this huge, not to promote Calabarin, but they had these huge trays, and there was this tiny little young lady. I mean, she looked like she must have been about 100 pounds, and she reached in and she grabbed all that food and put it on her shoulder and just walked it out, and I thought, that's John. John can do that.
That's skill and talent.
You've been working out, right, for your
New
Year's resolution.
I'm in basic training right now.
So our audience out there, those are the things we have on tap. Again, March 16th, our middle school recognition program. March 17th, we have the Mix and Mingles at Aprendamos. And March 24th, we have the March of Dimes and the Celebrity Waiter. And there is going to be another event, and we're going to talk to Peter here in just a little bit about it. But that's what's going on in our chamber, and thank you. Oh, and as a reminder, we did move and have a new location. If you haven't got a chance to come by and see Amanda and the tour up there, we're at a great place now. 1990 Atrium Suites, across the street from the Arroyo Plaza. Come on by, give Amanda a call, and check out and make a tour. You'll really enjoy it. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Toby. Those are very exciting updates for March. I can't believe it's March already. It just seems like yesterday it was end of the year, Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's, and so time is flying by really quickly.
First quarter, but we got a great year ahead of us.
We do. So we have a special guest with us today. He's a board member. He's taking on a leadership role with the Economic Development Committee. He's chair of that. Toby, introduce us to our guest today.
You know, I feel like a drum roll. And ladies and gentlemen, today what we're doing is, every year we have business owners and people in the community, and they want to be a part of the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. And a lot of people come up and say, how can I do this? What can I do? How can I be a part of that? Well, I have to tell you that I have met Peter a couple of times, and every time that we've met, he's always made that comment, how can I be a part of this? He didn't really ask how you can help me. He wanted to know how he could become part of it. And there was an opportunity, and he came on and became active in the board. He wanted to be a part of the board. And as what do they call the congressmen and the senators when they take over their first office? rookie or
freshman.
Freshman, there you go.
Freshman.
As a freshman board member, you know, you kind of sit back and watch. I remember when I was first on the board, I kind of looked around to see what was going to happen. And Peter said, you know, I see a need and I'm going to jump right in. And so he is our current economic development chair. And I have to tell you, what a mouthful that is. But again, as I said at the beginning, John, it is probably one of the most instrumental parts to assist us in workforce development, business and trade, and then our partnerships with the border issues and things that come through. So Peter, welcome. Thank you for being here. And more importantly, thank you for your volunteer and your work you do for the Hispano Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
So Peter, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then let's jump into the program and how people can become involved. So a little history on Peter Ibarbo.
Well, thank you. First of all, let me say that this is very exciting. I'm very excited to fulfill my first term with the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, and it's an honor to serve as their chair of Economic Development Committee. And a little bit about myself. I'm from here. I was born in Las Cruces, and I was raised in the valley. I was from the San Miguel La Mesa region.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
And so I spent a lot of time. Yep. In fact, my father was a foreman at the Stumman Farms Ranch in the 70s and 80s. And so I grew up in that whole community, and I served Mass as an altar boy in San Miguel, La Mesa, Mesquite, and that's where I'm from. And during my academic life, I had the opportunity to travel. I studied here at NMSU, worked on my international business and marketing degree, and during that term, I traveled to Mexico City, worked for the U.S.-Mexico Chamber of Commerce. I also worked in Washington, D.C. I've manned a post at the Chihuahua Trade Office in Chihuahua City. And so for the past little over 10 years, I spent a lot of time in economic development, and I spent a lot of time in Santa Teresa working on the 3 industrial parks that we've been developing for the past 10 or so years.
And Peter, great resume. You've got the experience. But for some of our audience that may be out there may not fully understand some of the things that are going on, and so let's kind of just lay the groundwork. So we have Las Cruces is a major growth, but then as we move closer to the border, when you talk about that, we have the industrial park area. Can you kind of piece that together and see a little history of that till we can understand, people can see where we are in southern New Mexico and how we're doing that?
Well, southern New Mexico is very unique. Southern New Mexico has a lot of different areas of strength in terms of developing business and opportunities. Given that we're neighbors with Mexico, the obvious choice for tapping into the huge industrial growth in the maquiladora industry, for example, in Juarez and Chihuahua, lends itself very, very well for the Santa Teresa corridor. Great. In fact, we have a commercial port of entry in Santa Teresa that's fairly new compared to the rest of the ports of entry throughout the United States. So that port is a developing port, and it is capturing a lot of traffic now from the maquiladora industry in terms of commerce. And the opportunity there obviously is really in tune with the maquiladora industry. But as you start moving a little further north to Las Cruces and Hatch, then you start seeing a complete different asset base and landscape. So you'll start seeing a lot of agriculture, and in particular here in Las Cruces with our research universities and the proximity to White Sands Mesa Range, you start to really see a difference in terms of technology-based opportunities. Absolutely. And one major driving force in that is our spaceport, which is, we're pretty close to the spaceport, and so that in itself is now a big magnet, you can say, to attract some opportunities to invest in the region, to develop a complete new technology.
Well, one of the things, since you brought up the spaceport, let me tell you, John and I were at the groundbreaking of the spaceport many times ago. And I still have a picture of John with his hard hat. And I tell you, it's a sight to see. If anybody wants to see it, give me a call.
You look like Bob the Builder.
He was right. And we were there, and John and I both reflected on a scene that they did. And they had in the background, they had the Native Americans walking through, and then they had some of the old settlers walking behind them. And if you can picture the Spaniards coming through, and if you could picture this travel of time, and then when everyone got through, then of course, then here came an airplane or a jet kind of flew over the top, wasn't it? And it just showed the process that Southern New Mexico has had, and that every one of those peoples were explorers in their own right.
Definitely.
And so I tell people that I live in a community where there's only 2 ports of entry, the only place in the world, the port of entry to Mexico and the port of entry to space.
Exactly.
And that is just a great marketing thing. And we've been a part of your organization with Mavita and all these other groups. But I guess the highlight I want to really emphasize to our audience and our members is when Peter was talking about the change in landscape, you know, El Paso has a port of entry, but we don't get a piece of the Texas money. So by helping Santa Teresa, we're able to have that traffic come through all of New Mexico,
Yes,
correct, and
that's
stay in
correct.
there. So having that, as they say, the corner market really bodes well for us to have success.
It does.
And so with what you're doing in economic development, you have a pulse of that, and you bring that to us. And I just think it's a valuable commodity that we have, and thank you for what you work there.
But I think the other interesting piece too, Peter, that you can talk about that I'm very excited about is that Peter is homegrown.
Yes.
He's from here, you know, so you have a vested interest. It's not like you're a consultant from New York City, you know, which is nothing wrong with New York City.
no.
I know, Toby, I know that you,
No, I love to go to New
you know,
York.
you like to go to New York
Yeah.
and spend some time there. But you're from here, Peter, and I think that kind of adds a different dimension
I think so, too.
to
I think
why
so.
you're interested in some of the projects that you do, and why you're interested in the Hispano Chamber,
definitely.
and why we're going into this new project that we're going to start here pretty soon.
Absolutely. And you know, for our audience out there, just so you know, having the university here, it has been spoken many times that one of the biggest drawbacks that we have is we cultivate these very wise and sharp people, but there's not a workforce, there's
Can't
not a
find
job
a job
for us.
for 'em, exactly.
And so they have to leave and go somewhere else. And through some of the efforts I think Peter is doing and all the things that are moving here, we're going to try to reverse that trend and try to keep the workforce here. And,
Most definitely.
and you're definitely on that edge. I mean, your business that you run right now is a business, your consulting
It's a business consulting, yes, business.
So through your experiences, you're able to speak the language of investors that want to move their capital to the United States or into Las Cruces and the surrounding areas.
Exactly.
So, I mean, from that point of view, as an expert, you definitely are doing the right thing for New Mexico.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I think you hit it right on the nail there. I have a very strong passion for New Mexico, and my motivation to become involved in economic development early on in my academic life was due to the fact that when I graduated and I went to Gadsden High School here in the Valley, I noticed there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for us. And a lot of my colleagues left the state to pursue other career opportunities, other universities or whatnot. And so I really wanted to do something to change that, and something that could be really a spokesperson per se in helping bring awareness of our opportunities here to potential investors. And so I spent the majority of my professional career in doing exactly that.
So
Well, I think that's wonderful that you're doing that, Peter. You know, also from what I understand, you've gotten a lot of education. You're furthering your education with an MBA.
That's correct.
But obviously, education covers a lot of ground, but it doesn't cultivate it.
Nope.
What you're doing is the experience that you bring from the business sector and economic development and education. Put that together. You know, that's a home run. That's
Sure.
a movie star in the making,
I
right?
hope so.
Well,
Right.
you
So
know-
we're going to go ahead and probably also what I want to talk about to Peter about is kind of how all this ties into what we want to do. You know, we want to bring economic development and jobs into Las Cruces. So we're going to go ahead and park on that cliffhanger for now.
All right.
We're going to take a break and be back in a few seconds. So if you would hold on, and we'll see you in a little bit.